Chelsea fans, welcome back to Talking Chelsea. Welcome back to your Chelsea news. In today's video, we have an update regarding Christopher Nkunku's future. Petrovic has had an amazing season and he's now reaping the benefits. Gabby Agbonlahor speaks about Victor Osimhen and Chelsea. Chelsea and Enzo Maresca are huge admirers of a new centre-back this summer who isn't on the shortlist, and we're going to be talking about Rodrygo to Chelsea. Now, of course, I'll be giving my own thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported, but more importantly, I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments.
And before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content. We're on the road to 10k by the end of 2025.
So kicking things off, Gabby Agbonlahor said this via talksport. He said, "I think Osimhen is a Chelsea player. He's a better option than Nicholas Jackson and a better finisher. He's outstanding in the air and he can hold the ball up and get in behind as well. Surely it's a no-brainer to go and get." Now I find this very interesting because it seems to be that, Chelsea fans are considered deluded because we want Victor Osimhen. He is a superstar. He's demanding big wages, big transfer fee. And we know that our board have basically said, yeah, it isn't going to happen. We had this whole Victor Osimhen Chelsea saga last summer, and obviously we know how that ended. We didn't end up getting his signature over the line, didn't get the transfer done. He then goes on loan to Galatasaray, where he has scored something like 35 goals in 31 games. He's had an incredible season there, also lifting some silverware. He then sacks his agent just after the move, and there was this whole aftermath of whose fault was it? Was it Chelsea not paying the wages? Was it his agent for wanting to have more? Was it Osimhen not happy with it? We don't really know, but all we do know is Chelsea fans around the world are crying out for Victor Osimhen to be signed for Chelsea. And again, I've spoke about this many times over the season. We did a video about Osimhen and the negotiations that were supposedly happening this week and the crunch talks about the salary. Not heard anything about that yet, but I will definitely keep you updated. It might just be waffle, but I did say that in the video. A lot of different sources saying a lot of different things. But it still looks like that Chelsea, and the fans especially, still admire Victor Osimhen. And when you've got people like Agbonlahor and talksport and all these other sort of pundits and reporters all talking about how it makes sense for Osimhen to join Chelsea, it makes us fans seem a lot less deluded, because this would be a signing that under Roman we would have gone and done. We'd have paid him whatever he wanted. We would have got it secured. Job done. And obviously under this new ownership, they've got a new wage structure. They want to run things slightly different. Cool. Whether we're happy with it or not, that's the situation. The thing that goes in our favour is the Chelsea board have said that they are willing to break the wage structure for the right opportunity. And that's very, very key for the rest of this video and for someone like Victor Osimhen, because I feel like this is the right opportunity. I feel like this summer transfer window is absolutely imperative that we improve in the right areas. We are screaming out for a number 9. The goalkeeper situation needs to be sorted. We are going to be keeping Sanchez, but we've got about 900 keepers on the books. We need to know what's going on there. We need a centre-back. What are we doing with Trevor Chalobah? Disasi looks like he's out the door. We'll be keeping Badiashile. Fofana can't stay fit. We need a centre-back to sort that issue. And the left wing position, because again, Mudrik's future's unclear. Are we keeping Sancho? We don't really know. Even if we are, we still need some rotation. Yes, we've got players like Esteval and Paez coming into the squad, but are they realistically going to be playing 30, 35 games next season? I don't know. I don't know. So Chelsea need to improve our squad this summer transfer window. And a lot of this also rides on us securing Champions League football, because a player like Osimhen wants to be playing in the Champions League. He's played it for Napoli, won trophies there. He's played it for Galatasaray, won trophies there. It's just going to be a standard for a lot of the targets that we are going after. So I just thought it was very interesting that you've got people on talksport, and I know talksport waffle a lot, right, whether it's good or bad. I quite enjoy it because there's always some sort of debate and conversation, and that's the whole point, right? But when you've got people like Agbonlahor saying it, yeah, it makes sense. It's a no-brainer. You've got other professionals in the game, or ex-professionals, saying it makes sense. Like, why have they not done this? He ticks all of the boxes. Yes, Osimhen's also has admirers from like Arsenal and other clubs. Of course he does. But I just thought this was very interesting because it kind of reinforces that us as Chelsea fans, we aren't going crazy. We are not delusional. It makes perfect sense, not just to us, but for other people outside of the club going, yeah, why have you guys not signed Victor Osimhen yet? So it'd be very interesting to see what happens. I think this is the summer of last chance saloon with Osimhen, in my opinion. If it doesn't happen this summer, it's never going to happen. I think last summer, from what we got from all of like the reportings, whether we know if it's true or not, because it's both sides of the coin essentially, Chelsea didn't pay enough money, and Osimhen's agent basically threw the deal up the wall, basically. So it could be like we have this redemption in the summer and we get his services, but I would love to know your thoughts and opinions down below. Santi JFM has reported that several top clubs, including Liverpool, have already made contact for Christopher Nkunku. Newcastle, as well as Bayern Munich, is among the club informed. Now, we know that Christopher Nkunku is going to be one of the first names out the door this summer. We know this. We've known this for a long time. We tried to move him on in January, but we tried adding too much of that January tax I spoke about in previous videos because Bayern Munich were not going to pay £80 million for Christopher Nkunku, who at the time wasn't playing very well, other than the Conference League, stat padding in that competition. It's very clear that Nkunku doesn't want to be at the club, and I've kind of come to terms with it. I'm cool with it. What frustrates me more than ever is when we signed him, I was like, this guy is on the cusp of being world class, winning all these individual awards at the Bundesliga, so spoken about, wanted by a lot of clubs around Europe. We secure him, he plays very well for a couple of games of pre-season. You think, if this is a sight of what we've got injected into our squad for next season, this is going to be tasty. Then he gets injured. And that's it, basically. Don't see him for a season. Might see him a couple of times, and when he plays, it's a bit underwhelming because he's just had a long-term injury. This season, he's had so many chances, so many games, and I do feel sorry for the guy because he was meant to be our number 10, and we couldn't anticipate that Cole Palmer would explode onto the scene and be the player that he is today. So he's kind of like, okay, I was meant to be the number 10. Yes, I was injured for a long time. Palmer's come in, absolutely exploded, taken the league by storm. I ain't getting in the number 10 role over him. He's played left wing, he's played as a false 9, he's played as a 10. He's even, I think occasionally played on the right. I'm not too sure if it was on the right, more central and drifted over. It just hasn't worked out for him at Chelsea, and I do feel bad for the guy, really. I probably shouldn't, because when he does play, he doesn't press, he looks like he doesn't want to be there. But I feel like that's an amalgamation of things that's got us to this point, right? I don't think that's specifically his fault, or the club's fault. I think it's just what's happened. This is where we're at with Christopher Nkunku. He is going to leave in the summer. My question to you guys is, where does he end up, and how much do we get for Christopher Nkunku? Because he's injured right now, and he's had minimal injuries this season compared to the last couple, right? That's just fact. And he has stat padded in the Conference League, and he still scored, I think, double digits of goals and got some assists. Does he go to a place like Bayern Munich, goes back to the Bundesliga and thrives? I mean, if I was him, that you would take that out of the clubs involved. With Liverpool, you'd go Liverpool as well, Premier League champions, Newcastle, Bayern Munich, that are all among the clubs. I don't see why Newcastle would sign Nkunku with the squad they have. I mean, I don't really know too much about the inner workings of Newcastle. I know that they were struggling to spend money, but surely they only look at Nkunku if they're looking to offload Isak or some other attacking midfielder players, or maybe they just need to bolster their squad. I don't really know too much about Newcastle, I'm not going to lie, other than when we see them play and keeping up with them in the Premier League rather than the ins and outs. So I want to know what you guys think about this whole scenario. Are you happy that Nkunku is going? Where do you think he goes to? And how much do you think that we get for him? RCA English has reported that Georgi Petrovic has been named Strasbourg Player of the Season, and this is thoroughly deserved. I cannot wait for Petrovic to return to Chelsea. He has got to be Chelsea's number 1 going into next season. Now, of course, he was on loan this season when Enzo Maresca came in, so he didn't quite like the fact that Petrovic couldn't play with his feet. He's going to go on loan for development, and a lot of Chelsea fans, myself included, were very bamboozled by this. He might not fit into your system of playing it out from the back, but what a keeper who saved us many, many times under Pochettino, who benched Robert Sanchez mid-season, and Sanchez couldn't get a sniff over Petrovic in terms of shot stopping and capabilities. Was he perfect? Of course not. Is there room for development? Of course there is. And this season at Strasbourg, he has been phenomenal. So it's a very thoroughly deserved award for Petrovic. So congratulations, my man. Not only that, but he's been one of the best keepers in Europe's top 5 leagues this season, consistently. Looking at all the stats on SofaScore and all these other stat places, he's been incredible this season, and he showcased that he can play out from the back. So this is basically ticking off all the boxes. He's gone to Strasbourg, he's developed, become one of Europe's top 5 keepers, can play out from the back, so he can fit into the Maresca system, bring him back, put him in the sticks, make him Chelsea's number 1, because it will put us Chelsea fans so much more at ease than having Robert Sanchez, who, I will admit, I'm not his biggest fan, but in 2025 has improved. He has improved. His distribution is still woeful, let's not forget that, but he has improved from all the mistakes he was making in the first half of the season. But we want Georgi Petrovic. If we're not going to go out and buy a new keeper, I would be more than happy to have Petrovic come back and be Chelsea's number 1 and Robert Sanchez number 2, and they can fight it out. Because I don't think Sanchez gets in over Petrovic. I don't think Jorgensen gets in over Petrovic, but Jorgensen might nick the number 2 spot off of Sanchez. So I think it'll be very competitive. I know Mike Penders is another name that we are looking to kind of test out in the Club World Cup and in the very short pre-season we could potentially have, because he's just, in terms of wonder kid data, is unbelievable. And Chelsea love doing that. But Petrovic, for me, he's gone away, he's proven himself, and he's, like I said, statistically one of the best keepers in the top 5 leagues this season consistently. He's developed massively. He's Strasbourg player of the season. To me, that's like, all right, point proven. We sent you away because we said you weren't good enough. You've gone, all right, hold my beer. I am good enough. Sweet, bring him back, put him as number 1, and it puts us Chelsea fans at ease. But let me know your thoughts down below. Would you like to see Petrovic as Chelsea's number 1, or would you still like Chelsea to go into the market this summer and secure another goalkeeper? Jay Percy from The Telegraph has reported an exclusive saying Chelsea are interested in signing Leicester centre-back Ben Nelson, who is 21, who was outstanding on loan at Oxford this year. Enzo Maresca is a huge admirer. Now, this sounds more like Chelsea, doesn't it? There is a very young player with high potential and very data-driven decision. Enzo Maresca is also an admirer. Of course, we are interested. At his previous club, obviously Maresca is going to have a bit more insight in terms of, working with him on a day-to-day, seeing him come through the academy. He's had a great loan at Oxford. Fair play. I don't know much about Ben Nelson, I'm not going to lie. But again, if it's data-driven, he's young, he's playing well, he's not going to be that expensive. If he's got experience with Maresca in terms of working on that, I see why there are links. But that does not fix our centre-back issue. So is this going to be we buy him for development, keep him in the squad, very much like we seem to be doing with Anselmino, where he's there training, developing with the first team, and then potentially loan him out? Or is this going to be we buy him, we loan him immediately, wait for him to develop, and then sell him for profit? Because I could see both of these happening, realistically. And again, I don't really know too much about Ben Nelson. All I know is he's 21, he's had a great season on Oxford, played for Leicester under Maresca, Chelsea are admirers, Enzo are admirers, and he's a centre-back. So I can imagine he'll be relatively cheap. No doubt there'll be some sort of English tax slapped on top, because that's what happens. But he does not solve our centre-back issues. Could be squad depth. I don't know. I just thought this was very interesting because, again, I don't know much about him. But I want to know what you guys think down below. Do you rate Ben Nelson? Have you watched him play? I had one of my followers in my comment section on TikTok saying that he is actually an Oxford fan. He's seen him a lot this season. He said he's a very impressive player, good on the ball, good in the air, good defensively, as you'd want to be as a centre-back, but he's not quite good enough to be Chelsea player yet. So that leads me to believe, well, okay, cool. It was a very well-balanced analysis from this guy. It wasn't very, like, this guy's washed or this guy's messy. It was very like, this is what he's good at, this is what he isn't good at. I'm inclined to take that as gospel. Why wouldn't I? I'm also going to do my own research in this as this develops, if it develops. So that kind of tells me that he's going to be brought into the squad. Again, like, young, develop a little bit, potentially go on loan to develop even more, keep him on that Chelsea books, and then potentially sell him for profit, because that just seems to be one of the spider networks of transfers that we do. And I'm very surprised. This summer, again, it's going to be massive to see who actually stays, who goes, who's going to be sold for profit, just because regardless, or, it's going to be more another cycle of development for people. Be very interesting. But I would like to know your thoughts down below. Do you rate Ben Nelson? Do you think Chelsea should be going in for a youngster? Or would you not even bother and going for someone more experienced? And finally, we are going to be talking about Rodrygo. Now, this is a couple of reports over a couple of weeks all put together, because I've been keeping an eye on this, and there is very conflicting reports. Yesterday, Ben Jacobs had reported that Rodrygo is a new name that I'm hearing. There is nothing advanced between Chelsea and Rodrygo, but what I can tell you is Real Madrid are willing to let Rodrygo go. Chelsea are aware of that market opportunity. That last sentence is very important, and I said this at the start of the video. If Chelsea see the right opportunity in the market, they are willing to break the wage structure. Is Rodrygo that player? In my opinion, yes. He's a youngster. He's Brazilian. He's gone to Madrid at a very young age for a very high fee, very high wages. He's not really bedded in, not really being the player that was going to kick on that we all thought and all expected. He's still had some very good performances, don't get me wrong. But they've also got Endrick, they've got Vinicius, they've got Mbappe, they've obviously Jude Bellingham. It's very, very tough in that squad to break into the first team consistently. Now, he can play on the left. He prefers to play on the left, apparently, according to things that he said in the past. He can play on the left, play on the right, play in the middle, but he prefers to play on the left. Well, funny you should say that, because Chelsea need a left winger, and I would take Rodrygo in a heartbeat. Now, I'm going to go over some previous reports, which has led to Ben Jacobs saying this, because this is what I'm saying. It's conflicting, right? So Ben Jacobs has said, this is the latest name that I'm hearing. I can't tell you that they're in advanced talks because they're not. However, Chelsea are aware of the opportunity, and that seems fair enough. But this is what's been said prior. Court Offside had reported that Chelsea are reportedly ready to pay 120 million euros for the potential transfer of Real Madrid forward Rodrygo this summer. Now, it wasn't just Court Offside. This was everywhere. And you kind of compile them. There was loads of reports of Rodrygo wasn't happy. It's going to cost 100 million euros, 120 million euros. Chelsea are the front runners. Arsenal are also interested. Rodrygo has come out and said that he wants to leave Madrid this summer. He's not happy with the game time. He's not happy that he can't beat the likes of Jude Bellingham, Mbappe, and into the first team squad. There was I don't know whether this is true, but there was a report in saying that he actually didn't want to play the Clasico recently because he was just fed up, basically. I don't know how true that is. That's just, again, it's on the grapevine. It's the rumour mill. But that's obviously built up pressure and pressure to lead for Ben Jacobs to say, yeah, this is the name I'm hearing a lot. Chelsea are aware of the situation in the market, but we're not in advanced talks. Now, again, if they're aware of that opportunity, then go make it happen, man. That's my view. Go make it happen. He's an incredible player. He would absolutely elevate our attack. Let's be real. He would elevate our attack. And then could you imagine next season when you've got the likes of Esteval, Noni, Rodrygo, Cole Palmer, Enzo playing as well. If we did bag Rodrygo for the left, that'd be amazing. Or you've got like Sancho in rotation. Up front, you go bag someone like Victor Osimhen. What? You could play Jackson on the left-hand side. You can rotate him with Osimhen. Unbelievable squad. And all it takes is for Chelsea to raise some funds, which we will this summer, because we'll offload a load of deadwood, get a load of wages off the books, hopefully. And that gives us more money and more funding to then go buy and secure these players at a higher rate, higher wage, and a higher transfer fee because the opportunity is there, right? Now, if you're going to come out and say many, many times, and this has happened over a period of months, that you're willing to break the wage structure for the right player, for the right opportunity, and then you've got your reporters, whether they're brown envelope or not, I don't really fall into that. I just like talking about my club and report what goes on, right? That's just literally my stance on it. I love talking about this club. If they're also backing up what they're saying and saying, yeah, they're aware of the market opportunity, and if there is the right opportunity, they will, break that wage structure. Who are those players? Who are those players? Because this is a Roman Abramovich type deal where it's like, 120 mil or 100 million euros. Okay, we'll pay that. We'll give you 250 grand a week, which I think is what he's already on or whatever. We'll do that. No problem. It's a superstar name. Bring it across. You'll sell shirts. You'll play well in the Prem. You've got loads of opportunities because it's a young squad that's still developing. Same with Victor Osimhen. This makes perfect sense. We tick all the boxes. How much do you want, Napoli? 75 million euros. Okay, we'll pay that. How much do you want for wages, Victor? 300 grand a week. Yeah, all right, cool. We'll pay that. But we just would have got it over the line, and it would have been cool. We'd deal with the repercussions later. Will Osimhen or Rodrygo on these high wages and for these transfer fees, will they be a repeat of Lukaku? In my opinion, I don't think so. Different type of players, and also I don't feel like these guys would sign for a club like Chelsea and then 3 months later do an interview saying they wish they never had, which is ultimately the starting point of someone like Lukaku, who was on massive wages going downhill. We did it with Raheem Sterling. We didn't really get a return on investment in Sterling. And I totally agree. I think he's pants. And I think we are going to be selling him in the summer. And I'm glad that Arsenal took him off us this season because it reduced a little bit of our wage bill. Yes, we still paid a certain percentage, but it reduced a little bit, and we just didn't have to worry about him in the starting 11 or in the squad. Maresca wasn't a fan. And a lot of fans are still on the fence about that, saying, Sterling would have changed this or Sterling would have did that. But reality is, he is a player, he's a luxury player. He's a player that plays well when the squad plays well. And yes, he got us out of some tough spots sometimes, but nowhere near as consistent, in my opinion, as he should have been for a player of his ability and a player of his experience in the Premier League. But regardless, I don't want to go on a tangent about Sterling. He's another high-paid player. Nkunku's on nearly 200 grand a week. We're looking to offload him. That frees up some wages and frees up some transfer fee. There's loads of players on our books that we're looking to offload. And if Chelsea are really serious, and the board are really serious, and they are zoning in on improving the squad for this summer in the very key areas of centre-back, left winger, striker, potentially goalkeeper, depending on what they decide to do, you're only after 3-4 players. So them 3 or 4 players can be a higher wage, it could be a higher transfer fee, because we make them funds up with people that we sell that we don't want for the future. Boom. It makes sense. At least in my eyes, anyway. Am I being deluded? Probably. I would love to know your thoughts and opinions down below about Rodrygo. Rodrygo to Chelsea, does it happen? Would you like to see it happen? How much money do you think that Chelsea would have to spend to get this transfer done? And do you think Chelsea would pay the wages? He's currently on €250,000 a week. Do you think that we will match it, or do you think that this will go completely south because he won't take a wage cut? I'll be curious to know your thoughts. So that's all of that is Chelsea news. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. I love having a conversation with you guys. And if you did watch this video all the way to the end, firstly, you're a real one. And I mean that. You are a real one. But secondly, there'll be a thumbnail appears on the screen. So if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, make sure you click that thumbnail because you'll enjoy that video too.